Let's continue adding to this travel agency website. So I think the first thing we're going to do is just make a new page, and I'm just going to copy and paste some stuff just so we can borrow the basic structure. And for this page, this is going to be a page about pricing information. So we're going to learn about the table element of HTML. So think of a table like a grid, and tables are used for data. You might see a lot of web pages use tables for formatting, but that's really kind of a good way to format and style your web page. Instead, tables should only be used for data that can be displayed in a table. Right now what we want is we want a 3x3 table. So we want two columns, maybe we'll say we probably want a 4x3. So we want four rows and 3 columns. We want a row for each of the column headers. We want a row for each of our cities. So first, you place everything inside of the table tag. That's what starts you off. And then depending on how many rows you want, you put in table row tags. So we want 4 of those. Okay. So inside the first one, we're going to have a table header. So basically a table header, as opposed to table data, is bolded and is supposed to be used to indicate like the label of the row or the column, the name of the row or the column. So we'll have our first table header. This is our first column of data. This can be hotel. Well, second one is airfare. Let's format that a little bit. And the first page is blank, or the first table header is blank, because we don't want anything displayed in the upper left-hand corner. So let's make sure we save this. So we'll call this pricing.html. Cool. And let's just see if this is displaying anything. Alright, looks good. So I just wanted to make sure that it was displaying something. So next, for our next table row, we need one table heading, and this is going to be our first row. And we'll make this one, what cities do we use? So we have London, San Francisco, New York. So we'll call this one London. So now we're gonna make 2 table data tags, and these are meant to be. This is stuff we're going to put in there, and it's not going to be bolded like the table headers are. So the data that we're going to put in here is how much a hotel costs in London. So we can just pick a value. It doesn't really matter what. $79. That's probably very cheap, but that's okay. And then for airfare, we'll say, $500. So if we save it and we open in browser, you'll see that it's actually starting to look like a table. So let's go ahead and add in the rest of them. So we have San Francisco. We'll say a hotel in San Francisco they're pretty expensive. And then airfare, that's going to be comparatively cheaper. $350 maybe. Let's just do the same thing for New York. And we have 2 pieces of data. Let's say airfare there would be pretty cheap, but this is a hotel. So for hotels are pretty expensive. But then airfare would actually be very cheap. So we'll make that like $150. Alright, so let's save this, see how it looks. Just reload the page. So now we actually have this, a table with all of the information that we need. So we have, these are our table headers: hotel, airfare, that's for the column, and then we have London, San Francisco, and New York City as our row headers. So one thing about the table is that it's not very nice looking. It does look like a table, but there are a lot of things that we could be adding to it. The most obvious would be something like a border. So let's go ahead in the head tag, make a new style tag, and we're going to put in some CSS. So the first bit of CSS we're going to put in, say table, th, td. So these are called selectors in CSS, and this is what we want our stylings to be applied to. So what this is saying is anything that's a table, and anything that's a table header, and anything that's table data, I want you to make these styling changes to. So the changes we're going to make, we're going to add a border to everything. So say border, we'll say one pixel, and then solid black. So let's see what this is going to look like. Maybe like put a bit of padding there. So we'll save it, reload. So now we actually have this is starting to actually look like a table. And there may be some more things that we can do. So for example, you'll notice that this is, everything's kind of like centered here, but it might actually look a little bit better if everything was kind of aligned to the left. So let's take everything that's a table header, because that's what we're trying to align, and we'll align it to the left. Save it, and there we go. So now that's all aligned to the left. And maybe the last thing we'll do is I want to increase the padding. So that's the amount of space between the border, the table itself, and the content within the table. Maybe add 15 pixels. Reload. There we go. Maybe that's a bit too much though. Let's try 10. About 5. Yeah, I like that. And of course we can do a lot more with this. We could add color, we could add we could change the font, we can do a lot of things here. So now let's go ahead and just link this pricing page back to our index page. So let's go ahead and make a link. This is pricing.html. Pricing information. Let's save everything. All right, so let's go back to our original page. See if we can navigate correctly. So now if we click on pricing information, it takes us to this pricing page. So now let's create another page that we'll use to describe each of the cities. We're also going to be using it to explain how to do HTML layouts, and I'm going to show you some layout techniques that we can use using some CSS styling. So first, I'm just going to copy and paste basic structure. I'm going to show you a few more types of tags that you might not have seen yet. So the first one is the header tag, and this is one of the tags that was first introduced in HTML5. It's really only used for formatting purposes. It doesn't really have anything special that it does by itself. So inside the header, I'll put in an h1 tag, and we'll say country descriptions. Let's also make that the tab title. country descriptions. Next, we're going to build a navigation bar. We can do that with the nav tag. Once again, this doesn't do anything special on its own, but it will help us. So for this one, we'll just say London, and I'm putting in the break tag so it moves the cursor to the next line before printing the next thing, which will be San Francisco. And finally, New York City. And next, we're going to put in the section tag. Now I'm going to put the footer tag down here. So first, this will be our description of London. Then inside the London tag, we're going to put in just some lorem ipsum text. And we're going to go ahead and put in the same thing for other cities. So we have San Francisco, and we also have New York City. All right, so if we save all this, let's save this as description.html. And let's open it, see what it looks like. So right now there's no formatting, it just looks like a regular old website, but let's actually add some formatting into it. And to do that, we're going to do that all in the head tag. We're going to put it in a style tag. I'm going to explain each one as we go along, because there's going to be a lot going on with it. So first, let's style the header tag. So inside the header tag, let's go ahead and do some things like, let's make the background color white. I'm sorry, let's make the background color black. We'll make the background color, we'll make the color of the text white. So we'll take the attribute color, make that white. We'll align the text to the center. And we'll pad it. Remember, this is the amount of space between borders and content, by 5 pixels. And let's see what this looks like if we open it. So you see, like, it kind of like formatted it. So we have a background color of black. The text is now white. We align the text to the center, and then we padded it by 5 pixels. So next, what I'd like to do is I'd like to format it so that the nav bar is onto the left, and all these sections are kind of like to the right of the nav bar. So to do that, inside the nav style tag, let's give it a different background color. I want something pretty close to saturated. So yeah, that's a color that's like a gray color. We'll do that. We'll make the height 300 pixels. We'll make the width 100 pixels. and we'll use float left. So that means that it's going to automatically go to the left-hand side of the screen. And we'll pad that by 5 pixels. All right, so let's see what this looks like. Let's try changing the heights. So let's format the nav bar, and I'm going to have the nav bar be displayed just underneath the header tag. So we'll give it a background color, maybe like close to a grayish color. Make those capital. Let's see what that looks like already. All right, so I think something else that would look kind of nice is if these were, we could actually put all this content in a list. So let's try that. So maybe instead of using the break tags, we'll just put it all in an ordered list. And to do that, we'll put everything in these OL tags. And we'll put the content in list tags, list element tags. Okay, so now we'd want to make links for all these. So we want to set this up so that we're linking to something else on the page. So let's go ahead and make some href tags. Oh, but first, the first thing we have to do is actually give these IDs. So let's define an ID of London. We'll give San Francisco, the header, an ID of Sanfran. And we'll give New York City an ID of New York City. Now we can add in our links. So let's put in the anchor tags inside the list element tags. So now when we click on the links, it takes us down to that particular section. Which is what we're looking for. All right, And just to finish this up, let's go ahead and add some styling to the footer tag. So to do that, we'll put in the footer selector, and we'll make it look similar to the header. Give this a background color of black. Give it a text color of white. We'll align the text to the center, and we'll pad it by 5 pixels. So now we'll open this in browser. Something's not right. Oh, we have to make sure that these are together. There we go. Now let's open the browser. And there we go. Oh, so there's something else that's significant to HTML. Use any sort of like interesting characters that you can't just directly type on a keyboard. You started off with the ampersand like that, and then they all have special codes like copy. So now when you put in this ampersand and then copy, you get this copyright symbol. So it might have seemed like when I was making this that I was kind of pulling out the attributes for each of these selectors out of nowhere, and that like I just had these memorized. But truthfully, these aren't something that you need to memorize. Besides like maybe like a few like background color and text align are used so often that you might as well just commit those to memory. But really, you can go online and look for something like a CSS cheat sheet. And it gives you every single property that you can change. For example, background. You can change the background image, background color, the background size. You can change borders. Okay, this is only one page, but basically, I mean, you can go online, look for some sort of cheat sheet like this, and there's nothing wrong with using something like that. Actually trying to memorize all of this yourself is just something that's not going to happen, and it's not really even worth your time. Instead, a lot of times it's just easier to have these sheets in front of you so that you can actually memorize, so that you can actually just like refer to them if you need to. This is an HTML5 cheat sheet. When we start doing layout techniques, which will be next time, it's going to be really important to have all of these elements at your disposal. Oh, and I guess to finish off, let's just go ahead and link to this. So in the index page, let's go ahead and put in something like description.html. Put in like country descriptions. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and just put in one more for just the home page. We'll save it. Let's go ahead and put these in all the pages. Bottom of all of them. Put the bottom description as well. Alright, so once these are all saved, so we have our travel agency. Oh, let's put these in, let's put some break tags before those. Otherwise they're not going to look terribly good. I'll go ahead and copy and paste those everywhere else. So now we have all the links to the different pages. I don't think we saved that one. There we go. So the purposes of making this was just to show you a little bit more HTML syntax. Like, for example, we learned about tables. We learned about table rows, table headers, table data. We learned a lot more about CSS selectors and changing properties like border, padding, and text align. We learned a bit about images and using images as links. And we learned about some special HTML5 elements like header, nav, section, and footer, which don't really do anything by themselves, but they allow us to, it allows organization of HTML pages. And we also learned about escape characters, which are just special characters that exist in HTML5 that allow us to use, non-typable characters, like the copyright symbol. So next time we're going to be going over more advanced layout techniques, and we're going to try to actually build something that looks more like a modern typical website. Because now we really have the foundation that we need and the knowledge of different elements to actually build something that is significant.